Mr. President, Mr. Secretary General, dear colleagues, China welcomes the initiation by Slovenia as the Security Council presidency of convening this open debate, Leadership for Peace. I thank Prime Minister Golob for hosting the meeting. I listened carefully to the report by Mr. Secretary General, and I commend you, Mr. Secretary General, for all your efforts for world peace. President, since ancient times, peace has remained the deepest aspiration of the humanity. After 2 world wars and the Cold War that separated the East and the West, the commitment to peace has taken deeper root, and the pursuit of peace has become even stronger. However, the world today is far from tranquil, and there remains a long way to go in international peace. There is the protraction of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, the elevation and spillover of the Ukraine crisis, the resurgence of the Cold War mentality, and growing risks of division of the world. Global development faces difficulties, and emerging technologies are often abused. The United Nations carries the sincere aspiration of the people of the world to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war, and carries a sacred mission to beat swords into plowshares. Sitting at the UN headquarters and facing changes unseen in a century, what should we humans do? Here's China's answer. For peace, we should follow the right vision on security. Vision should come before actions. Chinese President Xi Jinping has proposed the Global Security Initiative, which provides fundamental guidance to address security deficits and pursue lasting peace. And to that end, we must observe the purposes and principles of the UN Charter and respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all countries. We must abandon Cold War mentality and zero-sum game and oppose group politics and bloc confrontation. And we must safeguard security in both traditional and non-traditional domains and work together to address new security challenges brought by AI, cyber, and digital advancement. At the same time, we should practice the vision of common, comprehensive, cooperative, and sustainable security, and improve the global security governance system in light of the changing times. For peace, we should uphold international fairness and justice. Justice is a common pursuit of humans, and fairness lies in that all countries are equal regardless of their size. Countries should stand up straight against any hegemonism or power politics. We should practice true multilateralism, firmly safeguard the international order with international law as the center, and jointly discuss security governance on the basis of mutual respect, and build lasting peace on the basis of fairness and justice. It's important to uphold the authority of the Security Council, support the Security Council's central role in the collective security framework, and oppose any illegal unilateral sanctions not authorized by the Security Council. The question of Palestine is a wound in human conscience and a test to fairness and justice. The Security Council should bravely take its responsibilities and play an effective role. UNGA and Security Council resolutions on Palestine should be implemented, and Palestine should become a full UN member state. The top priority is to achieve permanent ceasefire and full withdrawal of the troops in Gaza, stop the humanitarian crisis in Lebanon, and prevent further expansion and escalation of the conflict. China calls for the implementation of the principle of Palestinian-led, Palestinian-owned, and Palestinian-ruled, and propose the convention of a more broad-based and more effective international peace conference. It's imperative to restart as early as possible the two-state solution and work toward a comprehensive, just, and sustainable solution to the Palestinian question. For peace, we should commit ourselves to political and diplomatic solutions. Throughout history, only diplomatic negotiations can lead to genuine peace, and only political settlement can make peace sustainable. The parties respect each other's justified concerns, seek common grounds while shelving differences, and meet each other halfway. It's important to increase input in preventative diplomacy and better leverage the UN peace-building architecture. The Security Council should give full play to the tools of mediation as granted by the UN Charter and avoid wantonly using or threatening to use forcible measures such as sanctions. The international community should jointly create conditions and space for political settlement rather than sit idly by, let alone seek selfish gains. The Ukraine crisis is now in its third year, with growing risks of spillover and escalation. China's position has been consistent, that is, to promote talks for peace and political settlement of the crisis. China has issued a position paper on the political settlement of the Ukraine crisis, sent its special envoy for shuttle diplomacy, and has published with Brazil a 6-point common understanding. To pull more balanced, objective, rational voice, create the conditions for ceasefire, build the momentum for dialogue and negotiation, and make our effort to peace. And for peace, we should promote common and sustainable development. Peace and development have profound intrinsic connections. The majority of the hotspot issues on the Security Council's agenda take place in developing regions. It's important to support developing countries, in particular post-conflict countries, to realize independent development in ways suited to their national conditions and eradicate the root causes of conflicts. The international community should, on the premise of respecting the leading role of countries involved, provide help, constructive help, instead of interfering in countries' internal affairs under all kinds of pretexts, let alone imposing governance models. Just now, the Beijing summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation was successfully concluded, and President Xi Jinping announced 10 partnership actions for modernization, which will help achieve the vision of silencing the guns in Africa. Mr. President, on peace and security, China has the best track record as a major country in the world and is the only major country to include the commitment to peaceful development in its constitution. The Chinese people have always held the belief that peace is the most precious and pursued common interests for all. 75 years since the founding of the People's Republic of China, we have stayed committed to a path of peaceful development. We never provoked a war, never started a proxy war, let alone occupied foreign land. Among the security P5, China is the largest contributor of peacekeepers and the second largest financial contributor to UN peacekeeping operations. China has been making its contributions to world peace through real actions. This year marks the 70th anniversary of the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence. For 70 years, the 5 principles have grown ever more relevant and have become open, inclusive, and universally applicable basic norms for international relations and principles of international law, making important contributions to peaceful coexistence among states and world peace and development. China is ready to work with all countries to champion the essence of the 5 principles and build a world that enjoys enduring peace and universal security. Thank you.